So here we are. It's a beautiful day, sun shining. I'm with ValDi, the beautiful Dimi Dimitrova, who performed together at the festival as ValDi. ValDi, Dimi, put together. If you don't know this guy, you're not Bulgarian. A national treasure, the Paul McCartney. So if you're learning English and you're Bulgarian, I don't need to say any more. But if you don't know who ValDi is, just take a brief look at this. This is the Cricket's 50th anniversary.
Thank you. yours.
ValDi, it's a pleasure. Where did it all begin for you with the crickets? How did it start?
I don't remember.
Great.
I remember. Still, I remember. It was in 1976, the early autumn of October. I just came out of the army.
You left the army?
I left the army at that time, and I left the army on the 13th of October, and my first rehearsal with the crickets was on the 14th of October.
Right.
Early. But they gave me the notes earlier, so I should check out.
And how old were you?
At that time, I was, let's say, nearly 40 kilos younger.
40 kilos younger. Were you a teenager? Late teens or early
No,
teenagers?
I was 23.
20, you were young.
I went in the army after I was in the university.
Okay. And you went into the army at the time you had to do national service? You had
At
to
that
join
time
the
you
army.
should go for 2 years. Not a pleasant job. Don't try that.
Okay. It's not for me, honestly. When you were at university, were you studying music?
No.
No? What did you study?
High School of Economics, Karl Marx University, sorry to say.
Okay. The communists have gone, it's okay.
Yeah. Not danger.
Okay. So, where did you start musically then? Before the crickets?
Oh, of course.
How did you learn to play? And what did you learn to play?
In the beginning, I was playing only classic music since 6 years old, the piano, and until the end of the gymnasium. After the 11th class, I quit playing classical music and went on only in pop and rock music. Of course, at that time we already had a band in the gymnasium. The first steps in that music, the influence of the music of the Beatles, the best for me. I think not only for me, but about 1 million other musicians. That changed my life.
The Beatles, you would say, were a major influence in kind of free Bulgarian music at the time.
And it wasn't that free to listen to English and American music at that time. You may listen to Italian music and French chanson, and I was wondering for many years later, why was it like that? Why the communists were against English and American music, but they were softening up when it was about French or Italian. Many years later, we found out their communist parties at that time were very strong.
Mm-hmm.
The communists had 32% in the parliament at some time in France, and almost the same in Italy. And the first time we went abroad, I mean, behind the Iron Curtain, in 1986, it was in Paris. We had a concert with the crickets, and we were invited by their communist newspaper, Humanité Dimanche.
Interesting. Why did the communist regime, the totalitarian regime of the time in Bulgaria, why did they have such an objection to Western, particularly British and American music? What was the problem?
I wonder. No, there is no reasonable explanation of that. But people love that music in Bulgaria, especially young people. But as well, my mother, she liked very much the music of the Beatles. Not the song "I Am Down" of Paul McCartney, of course, but more calm songs. But I think the regime didn't like that. They wanted to be loved by the people, but the people loved this music, and they loved the crickets, they loved the Beatles, without to be forced to love them. And people were forced to love the Communist Party, so it's kind of, they are envy about this. The people have open heart for their love about us and this kind of music. And they're envy, they want only day to be loved. You know, there was no religion, no Jesus, nothing. The new religion was Lenin, and that was it. And the communists. So they thought anything that people may be fond of, and it doesn't come from the Soviet Union, is dangerous. They called it imperialistic propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
They said, our music, I mean the crickets, we were singing in Bulgarian, writing our own songs in Bulgarian, or after very well-known Bulgarian poets were writing down the lyrics for our songs. They said this is ideological diversion.
Okay.
Your music is ideological diversion. Young people mustn't listen to that. That's the wrong way. That teach them things that they shouldn't. They should follow another line that isn't this kind of music. It was a problem to get Western records. It was a problem for many things, to wear long hair, to have a beard, to wear narrow trousers, to wear blue jeans, to wear short skirts at the time of that, when it was fashion to have a short skirt and or a dress. The young ladies had a lot of problems with the step.
I've heard stories from old Bulgarians where teachers in schools at the time, if they were caught listening to, say, the Beatles or what we would call free music, they would have their head shaved as a punishment. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true someplace. It wasn't totally that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first time when I played in front of my schoolmates, it was in 1965, in a hall near the school, and we played The House of the Rising Sun, but we didn't sing it. We played instrumental. It was wrong to sing in English. If there's someone to translate the song, and that was the same way for the orchestras that were playing in the restaurants, for instance, in the night bars, they should translate the songs in Bulgarian. There were percents of Bulgarian music, at least 50%, if you play in a restaurant, must be Bulgarian music. 30% Soviet music, and 20% West music. It doesn't mean
percentages, yeah.
Percentages, the most, but translated into Bulgarian.
Into Bulgarian. Yeah. So English was an evil language.
Yes, there were some years where even if you sing in French or Italian or German, it was also wrong. And they were sending inspectors that were listening in the restaurants, and you must pay 200 leva, and it was nearly a salary, you know, if they catch you singing.
So, secret police, the police state, very, very oppressive.
There were so many secret that I think every second or third was some kind of not policeman. At that time it was called militia, militia. But you know, people tried to make a living out of it. They were listening. I call them ears.
Yeah.
And say, if you, we had problems, for instance, from the GDR. They came, our friends musicians had a concert tour around Bulgaria, and two of them, they came at home for dinner. Two of them stayed to sleep because they got a bit drunk, of course. They couldn't drive, and the next day the militiaman that was in our part of the city, there was always someone, if there is something, somebody from the block went and told them that there were people, not Bulgarians, that sleep without permission. I should go and say there will be foreigners from GDR, they sleep at home and so rather. And he said, you had foreigners at home, and he didn't say that. I said, no, they didn't sleep. They stayed until very late at night, but they left. They have their hotel is Hotel Sofia. You may check out.
Okay. They've gone now, we've got rid of them. Okay, the communists have gone.
Luckily.
You're a free democratic state, European Union member. So we'll speak to Timmy very, very soon. But this concert, 50 years of the crickets, I mean, that's a mammoth achievement. You know, to be married to somebody for 50 years is very difficult. But
it's a golden wedding.
But to be married to 5 people or 6 or 7 in a band is a staggering achievement when you think the Beatles only managed 10 years. If we look back at that career very quickly, what was the highlight of those 50 years? If you had to pick one moment in time, what would it be?
Well, I think it was increasing. In the beginning, the crickets, I didn't play from the beginning. As you know, the band was established in 1967 with the name the Crickets. Before they played with another name, but the Crickets in 1967, and I joined the band in 1976. But in the beginning, if you had an electric guitar and an amplifier, you the king. I can tell you that. At the late 60s in Bulgaria. Of course, the concerts weren't official. It was difficult to make official concerts, but playing in the saloon of the school or so on, this, you know, you don't have it in England, but this place called Читалища. You know what Читалища is? A culture club where the people, kids studying foreign languages, dancing and all that kind, studying music instruments. Yeah, the community was looking after these places, cultural places, and at that place you could make a concert, and when it's not so official, you even could sing in English. That wouldn't be a problem in Sofia. It's the big cities, but I don't know if you could do that in a city like Sevlievo at that time. If you look back at this career then and say, what was the down point, what was the worst moment of 50 years of the worst moment when we quit for several years was in 1987. We celebrated 20 years of the band. We made a very big tour with every guy that sometimes joined the Crickets through these years, because people changed. The drummer was the first, the second guitar was the second, then came a guy that was playing keyboards. At that time they were only guitars. Then came a guy, Borislav Panov, who played keyboards and violin, and I took his place when he left the band. So we had problems mainly with the lyrics, because the band was already very famous and we won a lot of awards of festivals and so competitions of all kind, not only Bulgaria, in GDR as well, in Czechoslovakia and so. So they couldn't say you're not good composers, because many of the songs became hits here in Bulgaria. And in Germany we had, I think 3 or more songs that were translated in German. You know, the Germans want them always to be in German. So we had #1 hits in East Germany, of course.
#1 hits in Germany in German?
In German, yes.
In German, wow.
And so it wasn't convenient to say you cannot write music. Oh, your music is okay, but your lyrics are not. There it was very, very thin ice, because we used, how should I say, a meaning undercover, you know. We think something, but people know.
Subversive, hidden meanings.
Yeah, hidden meaning.
Reading between the lines.
Yes, between the lines. So, but there were also smart people enough in the radio. There were songs that were already on a record. It was released, and still they didn't play it on the radio. They didn't play a song, for instance, because you mentioned Jesus in the song.
So Jesus was banned.
It couldn't be played on the national radio. That's it. It's on the record, but it won't be played. And we had that kind of problems until the end. I mean that end, before the 90s came. And in 1987, the leader of the band, the bass guitar player Kirill Marichkov, he said, "We are sick and tired of that. We are sick and tired. And it's horrible that we are trapped for our fans. Our greatest fans that are waiting for over an hour after a concert to get an autograph or take a picture with us. They are waiting in the cold, in the snow, out the hall. And the militiamen, they get some of them and they beat them badly. They take them to the so-called, how they call it, police department or whatever, and they beat them there. And sometimes some come later back and his face is smashed, blood running from his nose and so. In 1987, there was a guy who told us, we had 4 concerts in a row in a big sport hall in Sofia, Universiade. 4 days in a row. They made a film for the band at that time, as I mentioned, 20 years of the band. And that guy came next town in Pernik, that's close to Sofia. And then he told us, I had tickets for the 4 concerts, but I didn't see no one till the end. The first concert. They kicked me out on the first song. In the middle of the first song, they threw me out like, we say, like a dirty cat.
Like garbage.
Yeah, because I jumped from my chair and I started shouting and they threw me away. One pushed me in the back, and while I was falling down the staircase, another kicked me in the head and said, "Get away from here until you're alive," I told him. So he went the next day, and again he couldn't see the concert again and again. So he came to a calm place in like Pernik, and it wasn't that big. It was a sport hall as well, but not that big, and they weren't so careful.
Hold that thought, because we've just got to reload the camera.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. The camera's happy. It's interesting when you say that, you know, the regime, if you contained, you know, the words Jesus in a song, they banned it. Yet the Beatles, when they toured America, and John Lennon made the very famous remark, "We're bigger than Jesus," the Americans tried to ban the Beatles.
Yeah,
but he did later apologise for that remark. It wasn't quite what he meant to say.
I think that's what he meant to say.
That's what he meant to say.
But
wouldn't go down very well in the southern states.
In the south part of the South State, where they were breaking the records the same way they were doing here in the communist countries. I think what he meant, as a matter of fact, that they got more popular because, as a matter of fact, there are a lot of people that aren't Christians, you know. It's not the whole world that Jesus is that popular. But they were playing in Japan and they were playing all over the world. That's what he meant. But you know, he was kind of joker, and that you shouldn't go so seriously after words like that.
This could be a problem, because if you could imagine, you know, the crickets in 1980 saying we're bigger than Karl Marx, that'd have been a problem. Probably.
That would be a great problem.
The end of the crickets.
It wouldn't come to our minds. You wouldn't dare to do that.
No,
that kind of thing.
it was
and
too risky.
It's not. Anyway, it would be very silly to do something like that.
It would be stupidity. Demi has sat here very patiently, Now, you are partners now musically. You play together as a duo, keyboards, vocals and violin, and you're partners in life, you're lovers, and you're very happy. So how did you two meet? How did you get to know each other?
As a matter of fact, I met Dimi on our seashore, Black Sea,
Okay.
the summer of 1983. She was at that time in love with her boyfriend that became afterwards her husband.
Mm-hmm.
But it came out that I know him very well, so I knew him before she met him.
Okay. So you knew, he knew your husband to be before you did? Yes.
Познавах Бежин.
Okay.
Yes, he was an extremely nice guy and very good looking, because when I saw her the first time on the beach, and I thought, oh, she looks very nice, she has a fine figure, oh, and her face is so lovely, and this red hair, oh, it's very special. I'll go in the afternoon and see if she's there again. And when I went the second time in the afternoon, the same day, I think it was in August, and there he was, her boyfriend, Virgin, who I knew perfectly well. I said, oh, I have no chance against him.
You're up against stiff competition.
Yeah, I will lose the competition. So.
Now Dimi's smiling away because she can clearly understand in English everything you're saying.
Well, it's a story said several times, and because
shy.
there are strange things and coincidences. For instance, the Crickets, we were in a tour in Bulgaria, and we were in the town where they were living, his hometown, Razgrad. And Dimi was in the hospital, bearing her first child. Okay. Borislav, her boy, before the girl, she has a young daughter. And it was the 3rd of August. Her son was born. Okay. And I'm born on the 4th of August. Okay. And I was in their apartment, and we were drinking with her husband, because he had his boy born the same day. And we, of course, passed over midnight and joined my birthday. Okay. It's the same now. Okay. We celebrate with son together, you know. Okay. The 3rd and 4th of August. Wonderful. And that was the time we met for the first time on the seashore, and later I saw her once or twice, because I lived in Sofia, she lived in Ruse. Then she called me, she telephoned to tell me that her husband died in 1994, very young.
Tragically passed, very young. Tragically, very sad, yeah. Cancer,
and 40 years old. Then again we were on a tour with the Crickets. I met her in the late 90s when we were celebrating 30 years of the band. She told me as if she's going to abroad, and 10 years later, when I went to Russia to play in the piano bar, I called her telephone number. At that time we didn't have mobile phones. I mean, they came later in Bulgaria. But nobody answered. And I said to myself, she told me she's going abroad. I hope that nice woman found a decent man from abroad, a foreigner, and get away from this sticky communist place. Okay. And I wish her the best. Okay. But several months later, I went again to the same piano bar in Ruse.
Yeah. Where she was playing violin?
No, she was playing violin in the Philharmonic Orchestra in the opera. But I didn't know that. I thought she doesn't live in Bulgaria anymore, because nobody answered on her home phone. Okay. I had the number phone. And I was playing in a piano bar. There was a guy that was celebrating his birthday, and he invited me to his table. When I sat down, I saw her on a table for two with a friend of hers. sitting and smiling at me. And I was so very happy to see her again after all these years. It came out that she didn't leave the country, but she was abroad with the Philharmonic Orchestra on tour or so. Because I thought she had probably great problems growing her children alone. She was 30 years old, 32 years old when she lost her husband, and the kids were 6 and 8, or were they 5? And it wasn't easy at that time. Bulgaria was in great trouble in the middle 90s, as you know.
So out of great sadness and sorrow, you found happiness.
Yeah.
Which is good. Which is good.
You never know. I mean, the circle of love, because I had my first girlfriend in the gymnasium was from the same town, Russia. And I said, so many years later, the circle of love brought me back to this town. But
we would
not
say
forever.
Meant to be. Great tragedy and great happiness also.
Yeah.
You play for the Russe Philharmonic Orchestra. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be that talented. I can't read music, you know. How did you begin your career? Where did you train, and how did you become a part of the Russe Philharmonic?
Завърших музикално училище в Русе.
She studied music, high school.
High school, okay.
Но цигулката за мен беше най-върховният инструмент, който съм слушала. И затова направих всичко възможно да го имам този инструмент и да го уча.
It's strange. When she was a child, very, very young, nobody in her family plays music.
Okay.
Not her grandparents, not her parents.
Not from a musical family?
No.
No.
And this little girl, she said, I want to play violin. She made her choice on the violin. She said, that's the instrument I want to play. She could make a better choice.
I think it's perfect choice.
I mean, it's very hard to be a violin player.
Yeah.
It's the hardest work of all.
So you went to university and studied music?
No.
No.
Защото дойде любовта в живота ми.
She met the love of her life.
Yeah.
И това беше решаващото. Не успях да кандидатствам.
She couldn't
посвети живота на децата си.
Conservatory. She looked after her children, and at that time, Russe, as a town near Romania, just across the river, Dunau River, there was a factory that was poisoning the town when the wind came from the north.
Toxic fumes.
Toxic
Pollution.
So she went to another town. They went to live in another town to be far away from with the baby.
Okay.
And that changed her life.
How did you join the Philharmonic Orchestra? How did that happen?
Имаше конкурс.
There was a competition.
Беше конкурс за цигулари и това беше едно удобно време да се върна от малкия град Разград, да се върна в Рус, в родния ми град, защото и възможностите за образование на децата бяха по-големи.
She lived at that time with her husband in Razgrad. It's a much smaller town than Russe, and she went for this competition in the Philharmonic Orchestra because she wanted to go back to Russe when she got a job there, and of course her children can get a better education in any way. There are better chances in the town like Russe than in Razgrad.
И това беше най-удобният момент, в който можех да свиря и имах силите да свиря, защото 5 години майчинство в къщи бях позабравила много този инструмент и ми се наложи 5-6 месеца да ходя на уроци, като малко дете.
She went to school again with the violin because to win the competition she should go back in shape, because she left the instrument for quite a long time.
Practice. Okay.
In practice, because she didn't play for a long time when she was looking after the children. The difference is 3 години или разлика имат?
3. Но 5 години пълно майчинство просто.
3 years is the difference between Bobby and Gabi, her daughter, but she had 5 years as a mother. She didn't go to work, and afterwards they came to Russe, and then she played.
And there we were, your career.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 2 final questions. We're going to play a clip from Krushevo Rocks, which will be Whiskey in a Jar. A lot of your set is performed in Bulgarian, which is fantastic. But I'm going to choose that track because it's in English, and you know, members of the club will understand. But before we talk about Whiskey in the Jar, your English is pretty fluent, isn't it? It's pretty good.
Because my father was in American college.
So your father was in the American college? Okay.
Yeah. We had some troubles with that as well.
Because of English?
Yeah. We should leave Sofia, the whole family, for 8 years, in 1951.
Because you could speak English?
They chased us away from us in a small village for 8 years, until 1958. Wow. Yeah, that was because my father was in an American college and my mother was in a French college before the war. Anyway, my mother was looking after the languages and the music with me and my brother.
Yeah.
And my father, he was a surgeon, but he was very much into sports. He was a basketball player, trainer, and after a doctor of national team of sword fighting, but anyway, very much into sports. So we were practicing sports with my father, all kind of basketball, ping pong, swimming, athletics, and my mother was after the piano. My brother tried also, but nothing happened with his music education. But my mother taught us English. At home we were speaking only English since we were babies. My first language was English.
At home your first language was English?
It was English. Then
she wanted you to learn English, didn't she?
Yeah. They were very, very clever, my parents. Many years later I asked my father, how did it come to your mind with mommy and teach us music, in arts and in sports? My father said that was the only job, that kind, in arts and in sports, that you could be a bit more free. Because all the rest, you're in a way tied up with ideological stuff all over.
Okay. Now I know, Dimi, you do speak English, and I think you speak English very well. But I know you're very shy.
Maybe if you bring whiskey in a jar, maybe you should...
Whiskey in a jar. We're going to listen to Whiskey in a Jar. We'll wind it up. It's been a pleasure speaking to you both. What is it about Whiskey in the Jar that you like so much? Why you perform it so well, and it comes across, you know, competent and funny, and it's fun to listen to, and it's beautifully delivered. But why that particular song in your set?
In the beginning, well, we were over 2 years together, and it didn't pass my mind that we could play together. At that time I was playing by myself for many years. Quite a long time I spent in Scandinavia, mainly in Norway, but also on the boats to Denmark and to Germany. So, because we didn't play that often with the crickets, we played from times to times, in special occasions. So, Dimi was playing in the orchestra, I played by myself, but the way I played in Scandinavia, I was so lonesome, I didn't like that. And now, if she's in Russia playing with the orchestra, and I go in a piano bar abroad or on the seashore, then it will be the same thing. And I didn't want to live that kind of life. I wanted to be with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came to my mind, let's try what we can do together, very gently, because she was afraid of that in the beginning. It's when you're the crowd in the orchestra, you're calm, there are many people around, and here the spotlight is straight on you, and especially as far as she's so beautiful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so nice, people look at the stage when I play, because before they listen to my beautiful music, but with eyes closed,
Okay.
shut, and now they look at the stage because Dimi is there. So I was very careful in the beginning. I wrote down the notes of two of the songs that most popular, and she liked them very much. She liked my music very much. She said she was fond of me because of my music, not of my skills in Czech playing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
So, and little by little, we were making the next song and the next song. Of course, I wrote down songs, notes for violin, for songs of the Beatles that never had a violin in the song. I'm proud of writing down violin for Blackbird.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud.
Blackbird as in
Yes.
Paul McCartney.
Yes.
Okay.
So we played the piano and violin instead of guitar and voice only. But so there were English, American songs, and mainly, of course, my music, because I have by myself 5 long plays, and of course many of the famous songs of the Crickets that people know perfectly well. Here, so, and we tried it in some small places first, in Russe, then in Sofia, then in Varna, and people were very interested. Of course, a rock and roll band like the Crickets, everyone knows the songs perfectly well. Strange, there's a violin playing the solo that plays the guitar, and still it sounds well. But for me, it was difficult to build the music for piano and violin and voice, of course, I sing. But it was a great pleasure, and it just woke me up. I was a bit lethargic.
Lethargic, tired?
Yeah. No, sometimes you get sick and tired of playing the same songs.
Bored.
Bored. Every evening the same.
Something
things.
fresh.
Something fresh.
Yeah. So you wrote down the notes little by little. You know.
The songs were getting more and more, and we had more and more songs. First playing small places in front of friends, checking out how does it go, and it was interesting for them because these very popular songs of the Crickets, where there's a rock guitar, and suddenly you hear the same solo played by a violin. But people, it came out that they were interested. They, most of the people, I don't know, they said it's very interesting, this. Sometimes we were having a friend who plays the guitar with us, so we piano, violin and guitar, yes. Acoustic sometimes electric guitar, and sometimes I use a drum machine. And some of the faster songs, rock and roll, as well as Whiskey in the Jar.
Whiskey in the Jar. And Dimi, your son, of course, I'm sure it's your son, has a beautiful voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's very good singer. He's an actor, actually, but he's extremely good singer. He's a very high tenor, higher than me, and we sing some songs together when he can join the duo.
Excellent. Listeners will form their own opinions. Dimi Dimitrova, what an absolute pleasure. ValDi Totev, we do the rock and roll handshake.
Oh yeah.
So here we are, together, ValDi, this is Whiskey in the Jar.
Сега ще ви спомням. Ако за новодошлите, това е Никола and Jonathan's Krushevo Fest 2017. Welcome. So, was once upon a time, Jethro Tull's singer Jan Anderson said, now we'll play a very Asian Celtic song that yesterday afternoon we composed in the hotel room. No, that's really a very old song, and it's about no one of you, maybe Irish whiskey, huh? Whiskey in the jar. It was, yeah. What can we do? It's not bad as well. It also works. И така, една древна келтска песен, както казаха Ян Андерсън и някои техни парчета. Свиреха такава средновековна музика и сега ще ви свирим едно такова древно келтско парче. Whiskey in the jar. When I was going over the far-flung mountains, I met with Captain Fire, and when he was counting, I first produced my pistol, and then produced my rifle. Since then, and deliver forky was a fall deceiver, mushering, never do that. What for my video? What for my video? There's whiskey in the jar, mushering, never do that. What for my video? What for my video? There's whiskey in the jar. I counted out this money and it made a 50 penny. I put it in my pockets and I took it home to Jenny. She signed and she swore that she never would deceive me. But the devil take the women and for sure they can't be easy. Mushering, never do that. What for my video? What for my video? There's whiskey in the jar. Mushering, never do that. What for my video? What for my video? There's whiskey in the jar. I went up to my chamber just to take a slapper. I drank a golden juice and for sure it was a wonder. But Jenny took my charges and she filled them up with water. Then come to Captain Fire to be ready for the slaughter. For sure never do that. What for my video? What for my video? In the jar. For sure never do that. What for my video? What for my video? There's whiskey in the jar. It was early in the morning when I woke up to travel. They came down and put me there likewise was Captain Faro. I first produced my pistol, she stole away my rapier. But couldn't shoot the charges, so a prisoner I was taken. Mushering, never do that. What for my video? What for my video? There's whiskey in the jar. Mushering, never do that. What for my video? What for my video? Some men take delight in fishing and in roving, and others take delight in drinking and in smoking. But I take delight in the juice of the barley and walking pretty fairies in the morning bright and early. What for my video? What for my video? There's whiskey in the jar, for sure in the bit of a dime. What for my video? What for my video? There's whiskey in the jar. Русенска филхармонија